fast Oracle. I'll delay my expansion, and I'd rather have the full scouting, the harassment opportunity with the Oracle. Classic playing a much more measured and safe game. And someone like Neeb who likes to push their edges a little bit more.
Yeah, and I also think that's the difference between the WCS Global Finals and playing an online tournament, right? I think if Classic is playing an online tournament right now, it'd be like, you know, let's just see if I can hold or not. Should be doable, should be very possible for me to be able to defend whatever you throw at me. There is so much on the line. The potential for Classic to make a deep run in this tournament is very real if he survives the group stage. We know that he's capable of going very far. He may not be the top favorite to win it all, but we all know that Classic can always make a semifinals, maybe squeeze even into a finals if things go his way.
Double Oracle out, Stasis Trap's already going down on the defense there. Classic, such a defensive player with his Oracles. Yeah. He almost never runs those into Widow Mines in the early game. If he thinks there's a chance of it going down, he just turns the Oracle around, flies it home.
Cloak Banshee is going to be the tech of choice here for Special, which I don't think is going to come that much as a surprise. As long as Classic keeps his Oracles alive, he should be all right. I believe there is a Phoenix out as well, so he can always tag those Banshees. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I understand the idea of obviously making a push in the front, maybe with some Widow Mines and a couple of Cyclones, and that's where the Banshees sweep in as well, maybe if the Oracles go down or the Oracles use their energy, but like you said, Classic is not crazy, and in general, he is very, very careful with these Oracles.
Nice snipe on the Widow Mine, but he's going to pay the tax there as the Cyclones do take that Oracle down. The Oracle
massive.
Staying in there to take out a few Marines, realizing there was the cooldown, of course, on the Cyclone lock-on ability, but that's something Classic hates. He does not like losing those Oracles at all.
And that's massive, because he's probably going to need that for defensive purposes, not only to tag maybe a Banshee, because he is making an Observer, but eventually maybe if Special moves out with those mines, with those Cyclones, and maybe a couple of Marines and a few tanks as well, even without Stim, a push like that could be very, very tricky to hold as a Protoss, and that's when those Oracles come in very handy.
This Banshee is going to come in now, and does actually dodge around after spotting that probe. Good reaction there by Special.
Where's that Observer?
And there is a shield battery near the natural, so I'm going to see, does Special commit to this? Indeed he does. Going to start sniping down one probe, and the second probe gets healed. Only 2 probes here so far. The Stalker's moving back. That's a nice push through the middle. Cyclones, Marines, Widow Mines, a Banshee, and Siege Tank there. And this Banshee already causing a big disruption, a big distraction. It's going to force a lot of units up here. It's already done a ton of damage, and that's going to allow the army to set up at the front.
This is working out in a fantastic way so far for the Mexican Terran players. Classic is so far out of position. He's not ready to deal with this. This allows the mines to go down in a very, very dangerous spot as well. Maybe allows the Siege Tank to siege up. Classic is going to need the hold of his life to keep his BlizzCon dreams alive.
Sacrifices the Oracle to take the Widow Mine in on a friendly fire trip. The Kamikaze Oracle does end up falling. It damages a lot of the Terran units. These next Widow Mines, some shots landing, but good splits by Classic, and that Immortal gonna be the savior of the day. Takes down those Cyclones, takes down the Siege Tank. Classic with an amazing hold in a very hard position. Despite that though, look at the work account. Special here, he's ever macroing behind it.
Now, obviously, this is not a good position for Classic to be in. You're going up against a Terran player that has 3 orbital commands already. You're down economically, awful spot, but still a really, really good hold, because I think if that goes worse, you could straight up lose the game there, and that's it. Curtains closed. We know that Classic is capable of making a comeback. The one, you know, silver lining for Classic in this game, I would say, is that Special made so many awkward units, so to speak, when it comes to Cyclones, Widow Mines, Banshees, and that means that Stim is quite a bit delayed. And that means even though Classic is behind right now, he's got at least a little bit of time to crawl his way back into this game.
That's always how these builds work, isn't it? The Terran commits so much to slow down the Protoss, so in any other game where the Terrans played one of those older styles where you get up to the Stim, I mean, you look at those work accounts and you say the Protoss is down and out, but this does, as you said, give a window for recovery for Classic. It's still, though, Special mining a lot more minerals every minute. He's going to be establishing this position. He's floating his 3rd command center down. So far, pure Marine Marauder medevac. Now, he's got a safety Siege Tank, but he's not continuing production, so I am curious if that factory's got a reactor or a tech lab. It does have a reactor. We see Widow Mine production in the mix. Great against the charge lots.
Absolutely. So far, so good for Special. I mean, last year he surprised all of us by making it into the playoffs at the Global Finals by surviving a group with Stats and TY. We thought that would never be able to, or he would never be able to do that, but he did. He even won that group, and now again, he's looking great against Classic. He's up 1-0, and things are going his way way so far, but he's not there just yet. He's gonna need a few more good moves.
Yeah, I mean, Classic's been down in bad positions before. He was down 0-3 in the last Grand Finals he played, and he won 4 games in a row to win that. Classic gets more and more steely when he's under fire, gets more and more focused. He's got some units here spotting for these drops. That's a lot of Stalkers. Of course, he doesn't have Blink, so he can't capitalize on those drops coming too deep unless Special is very inattentive. And he's already pulling these units around. Special just going to play it very careful. He's waiting for his economy, his upgrades, and his production to kick in. He doesn't want to fight until a little bit later in this game.
Yep, there's no need for Special either, right? I mean, he technically doesn't have to. It's not like he has to worry about Storm at this point. He doesn't have to worry about Disruptors either. No, it's just Zealots and Stalkers. And we've seen that many, many times in this tournament. Even though that composition did incredibly well. Now, there is a Templar Archives going down. We all know the bigger the Terran army becomes, the more Widowmines are in the mix as well, the more the Zealots start to fall off. Special doesn't want to take a fight too early. Could scan and could maybe get both observers. That would be massive. He's got to be careful. I'm not sure if I really like him splitting up the army here. It could work out in a fantastic way, but we'll see.
Trying to bait those Zealots in, of course. If you do create a battle on 2 fronts, it's much harder for the Protoss to kind of mitigate those Widowmines. The Bio there going a little bit far forward, and a lot of them do go down there. Special trying to pull back. The north side's being defended as well. Great trade so far for Classic on this defense. He's buying the time that he needs.
Yeah, I think he picked off a medevac there. I'm a little bit sad to see Special splitting up his forces because I don't think he had to. I think in a straight-up fight, his army was actually stronger than the army of Classic. He has an upgrade advantage, Big. How often does Terran with bio units have an upgrade advantage against Zealots and Stalkers? And that's all because of the way that this game has played out so far.
Yeah.
Now Special's gathering all of his units, and this could be the push that sends him into the quarterfinals.
I mean, Bio's good, Widowmines are good versus the Zealots, but it's when those 2 Liberators join the army, that is the real power point for Terran, and Special is there now. He's got to get in there soon, though, Roddy, because that Storm, it's already past halfway, and there's observers seeing everything. Classic knows he's on the clock. He knows there's a scary army coming for him, but if Special doesn't get a move on, Classic's going to have those Storms to greet him once more.
How many Templars do we have? Just 4 in the Prism. We have 2 more. Those are in the natural. That one Prism is very low HP. Are those Zealots?
In.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think that's better, by the way, because that Prism is already kind of on fire. It already ate a Widowmine shot. Special's creating space. He's very paranoid about the big counterattack. I think maybe afraid that 8 or 9 Zealots only show up in his natural and start slacking down those SCVs.
He's killing a few observers with scans, which is limiting Classic's map vision a little bit. We see that drop on the left-hand side, about to get intercepted. It actually skimmed through the watchtower vision. A bad mistake there for Classic, going to cost him his nice counterattack, and that gives Special a lot of confidence to get his army together and get a move on. He's got ship weapons, he's got more and more Liberators, and those 2-2 upgrades. That is the window Special's looking for. He's going to have a 2 upgrade advantage over Classic. Classic here is moving forward, though. He's got the Storm, and that is also very scary.
There is a Ghost in the mix, but that's just a single Ghost against quite a few High Templars. The Widowmines connecting almost with those High Templars, not just enough. Now there are a few more Ghosts there on the left side of our screen, so it will all come down to those EMPs. Classic will be very, very careful.
Yeah, EMPs are very nice, but the Prism, of course, the safety against that force field, stopping Special from getting down that ramp. He's up 30 army supply. He'd love to fight right now, but he's got to respect the Storms.
Good blink there. He's going to get a couple of Liberators immediately. Can we see some big Storms so far? Man, Classic is actually playing really well. Wow. Considering the position that he was in, I find it amazing that we're looking at a Protoss with this army right now, and he's even thinking about the next stage. He's getting a second Robo, but Special wants to force a fight. He lands a big EMP there on top of Immortals and 2 High Templars as well.
Very nice. Those Stormers are dropping out. Nice Storm on the Marines. Another big EMP does land on those gateway units, but there's still a lot of Storm in that army. He snapped the War Prism. The Marines stim forward in an impetuous move. Special takes the splash damage out of the Protoss force, and he wants to try and take the fight here, but his army is heavily bruised from the stim packs. He's going to keep on fighting. Does he have the numbers? Classic Zealot count is dwindling. The Liberator's sieging ahead, and has Special done it with one ballsy maneuver? He just might have Rotterdam.
The Immortals are going down. The Zealots are not here anymore. The majority of the Stalkers have been picked off as well. A few more Zealots are starting to show up, but Special sniping that War Prism with 3 High Templars inside of it. That may have just done it, Pick.
That was an amazing move and a decisive push to follow it up. This man knows his Terran versus Protoss, and is he actually going to do this versus one of the best Protoss versus Terran players in the world? He's inches from closing this one out. His units are bruised, his medevacs are low. He's pulling back, he's trying to take his time here. It's only Zealots and Stalkers. There's no splash damage. There's nothing left for Classic, and that's going to be it. Special, hailing from Mexico, able to topple the Korean Tyrant here. The probes are running, and the Marauders are just waltzing in on the victory path. An impressive victory from Special, an amazing series, and he might just be going through to that top 8.
It's not just Saral, it's Special as well. For the second year in a row, Special is gonna make it into the top 8 of the WCS Global Finals as he throws down that final scan, picks off a couple of Desperation Dark Templars, but he's done it, man. That snipe was worth at least $7,000, but potentially picks so much more.
Classic can't believe it. He's trying to warp in DTs and drain the detection. He's trying to avoid the scans, but they don't end. He's got a Nexus going up on the other side of the map, trying to get a base trade going. Classic here, desperately fighting with every tool he's got, and who can blame him? It's not every day you get to play in BlizzCon, and he is, of course, coming to terms with this scenario here. The last tool slowly trickling away. Classic, such an impressive player, coming hot off that Super Tournament victory. But here today in this series, Special was the one who came out on top. He was just played some very nice build orders, making use of these proxy barracks, some great pushes to follow it up. And I mean, that Marine move, the snipe on the War Prism is so dangerous. He copped one big storm in return for it, but taking every bit of splash out of Classic's army, it was so worth it.
Absolutely. I mean, the beginning of the game was obviously very good for Special. I know these medevacs have been working overtime. A couple of Archons are going to show up, but it's not going to be enough for Classic. Special's forces are overwhelming here. What an absolutely amazing performance by our Mexican Terran player. 2 years in a row, he's going to make it into the top 8, and he did it, making it out of very, very tough groups. Him toppling Classic here, that is absolutely fantastic, Big.
What a long way he has come. Classic has to call good game with no tools left at his disposal. And once again going through to the top 8. Of course, last year's surprise semi-finalist, making a triumphant return to the top 8 of BlizzCon.
What a run by Special. Once again, he gets the job done, and he did it against a Classic that, of course, was in rough positions, and of course, he overextended a little bit in game 1, but I just think Special played one hell of a best of 3 here, showed some fantastic decision-making, impeccable control, and that War Prism snipe was heard around the world.
It was an amazing set of plays from the man, and I'm sure the boys on the couch are just as excited as that. Kalaris, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
An absolutely outstanding series to finish off the group stage. Without doubt, the hands down some of the best games we've seen of the group stage so far, as Special is able to take the 2-0 and moves forwards into the round of 8, knocking out a 2-time semi-finalist from the World Championship Finals as well. Unbelievable stuff. Joining Artosis in control, Tasteless. Guys, that was just phenomenal play.
Special looks so good right now. He just 2-0'd Classic.
Yeah.
He forced his way in to the top 8 of BlizzCon. It's not just going to be Saral there for the non-Koreans. I mean, that was just amazing. He played so well.
And what I liked about this a lot, too, is that in the past of this tournament, we've had some results where it was like one player didn't play up to snuff and the other one kind of capitalized.
Yeah.
I thought Classic played pretty darn well. Obviously, it wasn't perfect StarCraft for anybody, but it was very good, and he gave it his all. And it was just Special executing some ideas and strategies that caught him off guard, and then capitalizing on that. We've had so many matches where the non-Korean in particular got ahead, did something really great, but then could not seal the deal. And this time, Special was able to do that. And he's inspiring countless Terrans out there. I'm thinking of like Nathanius and some of these guys that have no idea what it looks like when a Terran steps up to the plate, faces the best PvT player on Earth, and actually destroys them 2-0. And for Nate to be able to see that, I think, the young, impressionable-minded Nate out there, it's just a big moment in time. I'm excited about it.
Tasteless, I'll check in with you in for a moment. We are ready to hear from the winner. Moving into the round of 8, let's head over to Special.
Thank you very much, guys. And I'm here with Special, who is the last one to join the round of 8. Congratulations. Oh my God, did you expect such a win 2-0 against Classic?
I tried my hardest to win. I didn't expect it to win. I knew it was going to be very hard because I knew when it's one of his last tournaments, I think. And when I saw him practice, because I know his account, he was playing like 50 games every day, very, very hard practice. So I had to do the same to at least have a chance. And I think I played very well today. I have good conditions. I really like the BlizzCon, how they treat you, how everything is perfect, so you can play your best. So I'm very happy I was able to play my best.
So you indeed, as you said, you played really well. And let's talk about the first game. Like, it was a really interesting game to watch. And tell us more about your build order and your strategy.
Well, I know how he defends proxy, so I engineered 2 builds to trying to like insecure him in the mind. Like the way game 1, my plan was to do a fake cloak and to Raven, but he didn't scout the starport too fast, I didn't make cloaking. But in game 2, I know he likes to go back with the Oracle when he scouts for the, he just goes in with the Oracle, scouts quickly and goes back if he thinks it's Banshee. So in game 2, I capitalized on that and like a hidden Banshee build with like a reactor cyclone. And in this map, especially when you do reactor cyclone, they think you're gonna attack with like a bunch of cyclones. So what he made was make his robo and stay back at home. So I was in a good position after that.
Well, excellent. And I know you're really close with TY. Did they give you any tips to prepare for this series?
Well, we always help each other. I help him, he helped me. But in this matchup, his game 2 build was his. I just made a little better. And since the game 1 build was mine. But they complement each other well, the builds in a best of 3. So, yeah.
Okay, well. And your TVP looks really on point, and if you are able to play at your full potential, could you raise the trophy at BlizzCon?
I mean, I think anyone at the top 8 has a chance. Like, some might have higher numbers, but I think anything can happen any day. There's some players that I would like to avoid, of course, but I think, yeah, anyone can win, especially SOS. I don't want to play SOS.
Okay. Would you like to add any last words to your fans?
I know I'm always looking like I'm not very good in the foreigner scene, but I don't know. I like to prove in this tournament that I can do very well.
Okay, well, congratulations again, and best of luck in round of 8. And back to you guys.
Phenomenal breakdown there from Special. Very interested to hear kind of how he kind of dissected what was Classic was doing in some of his previous games and able to apply brilliant execution to those as well. Really cool to hear from him.
His prep and familiarity with the Korean players does stand out a lot when we watch him play.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't do as well in WCS as his skill level would probably predict. But he's lived in Korea forever at this point. These are the players he studies, he plays with, he knows them, and you can see how well that worked out for him against Classic.
You know, one thing about Special, his play is the embodiment of hard work. Okay, sometimes you see these series where someone pulls a fast one, like, oh, I did this build and it counters you, or you know, I planned out well. You didn't scout this, or I played it. He is just, you watch these engagements, he's so good. He's making so many excellent decisions. He's just willed his way through this tournament.
In Control, your thoughts in the series as a whole?
Well, I mean, I liked his words there. He said, I want to prove to you guys that I am a good player and I can do this. And I think he's already proven that. And after this level of play, this level of preparation, execution, I'm excited to see what happens up there. Obviously, there's some sharks in that pond that I do think could take this feel-good story and probably turn it on its head pretty quick if he gets them. But after toppling someone like Classic the way he did, and it's really fun hearing his thoughts, and I like combining Tasteos' thoughts on this and hearing what they say. I mean, he is familiar with the Korean scene, and that is a leg up. And it's cool to see that because it's a different flavor, right? Like a lot of the non-Koreans, the European scene in particular is very tight-knit, but they have their own thing going. Special just really globbed onto that Korean scene. All those videos are of him bonding with the Koreans. He idolizes that scene. He worships TY, and he's getting results and doing it with that, and that's pretty cool. It's a different feel. I like it.
For me, looking at the potential of brackets and things like that, it almost makes me hunger for a special stats series. It's the only potential Protoss that you could meet in the round of 8, but of course, stats is stats. So, what do you think?
I actually think he has a decent style. Like, stats is not unbeatable in PvT. He's very good at the matchup, but I think that Special knows various ways to combat him. Just like he says, oh, Classic scouts the Oracle and sends it home,
Very
he's
specific
going to know
ways.
things specific about stats that are similar to this. So I think that would be a great
That
match.
is interesting to break down because he cannot face Rogue, okay? Because he cannot face, and we're going to do the bracket show in a minute. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but
Sure.
so it's either Saral, Morrow,
Or stats.
or Stats.
Yeah.
Two of those three for me are like Saral versus Special. That's a pretty good match for him. Morrow versus Special. The thing is that we kind of lose sight of Morrow, or Special, excuse me, is actually a bit of a TVT sniper. Now I know it's Morrow, but that is in the past that was the best matchup.
There's a lot to study from when you go to Maru, considering that he just played a full best of 7 TVT against TY.
Yeah, it's so true. And I'm sure that Special helped TY to prep for that.
Yeah.
And TY pushed him to the limits.
That would be kind of cool. That'd be a cool storyline.
Yeah,
I'd like that.
It's great. It's great.
I'd like that.
So far, our round of 8 obviously shaping up to be fantastic. I think that some of our group stage matches have kind of been a bit of bops. We've seen
A lot of them.
Yeah, we saw a lot of those.
Let's say a lot of them.
But we ended the group stage with a really, really nice couple of games.
Nice couple of bops.
Nice go.
No, they're back and forth. They're good games.
He's a weird guy.
No, but we're the final the final weekend's gonna be sick. Obviously, this is absolutely set the stage for it.
Let's check in with the schedule as well here and just get you up to speed with everything that has gone on in terms of the results so far from today. As you can see, these are the 4 players that were eliminated. If they lost there, they were eliminated in our first series of the day from each of the groups. And then our winners from these 4 games have moved on to the round of 8. And next, it's going to be our bracket reveal. You like it, don't you? You love
graphics
it.
little,
You
like,
love it.
Just a little reveal.
This is your esport, man. I'm digging it.
And that is going to be a good one because I think all of us are very excited to see how that round of 8 is going to shape up. In Control, kind of final thoughts before we get to that bracket reveal, because I don't think you're on the panel, right?
I am on the
He
panel.
is.
We're on the panel for it.
Let's get that bullet
Jeff.
point.
Whoa,
note.
never
For our
mind.
audience, last night we did rehearsals for this. I sent my best man in, Nick Tasteless Plot, to take my seat.
I am his rehearsal stunt double. So I came in here and rehearsed for that, and then they
exactly the
decided
same.
that they wanted one guy who was an NA caster. So I will, you take it from here, Jeff.
All right.
You know what? Nick's final thoughts. Give it to Nick.
This is such a sick set of players that we got, okay? And I don't know. I'm very happy. I'm very happy. And again, I'm very happy to see Special move on.
And they're all good guys, too. Nick wants to say that, too. All these the top 8's filled with good guys.
Can I wrap this up?
The quality human
You know what? You
guys
wrap
shut
it
up.
up. You wrap it up.
All right, we're going to go to a short break, ladies and gentlemen, but do not go anywhere because we are going to reveal who is playing who on the first day of BlizzCon in the round of 8.
The 2018 StarCraft II World Championship Series Global Finals are brought to you in part by Republic of Gamers, Corsair, T-Mobile, Samsung SSD, and NVIDIA.
An unbroken legacy. Countless shattered dreams. For titles that remain unachievable. Two worlds collide. Two rival regions. A gathering from all corners, embarking on the journey of ambition and greatness. The true test of accomplishment. It's us against them. It's you versus him. It's one versus one. With the hope of the world comes the weight of expectation. A true battle of strength. A physical display of will and dedication. The time is here. The time is now. A new age is upon us.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here as we have completely concluded our group stages, and now we're going to be figuring out how the bracket is going to shape up for BlizzCon, which will be taking place November the 2nd and 3rd, and then we'll be able to crown our WCS 2018 Global Champion. Joining us here, my name is Kyle Laris, of course, and I have Mr. Artosis, and we have in control, we have Rotterdam. Gentlemen, we have 8 players remaining here in the tournament. 8 have been dashed aside by these players as they've been continuing on in the groups, and to list them off: Morrow TY, Saral SOS, Stats Dark, and Rogue and Special. Our top 8 is actually phenomenal.
It's ridiculous. Like, we have all the best players in the world up there. We have a European, we have a North American, we have 6 Koreans. It's like you couldn't make it better.
3 Protoss, 3 Zerg, 2 Terrans.
Damn.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's good, Roddy.
Pretty good.
It's perfect. I'm still recovering from that last best of 3, man. That was
understand.
so good, so good.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy with the top 8, obviously. I think we've got a fantastic set of players. And James, tell me more about this bracket, man. I need to know.
I shall indeed. So there's a few rules kind of like tending that we have to get over and done with here to make sure that you guys know exactly how things are going to be going down. So the bracket is obviously a single elimination bracket with best of 5s going into a best of 7 grand final. All important is that our first seeds from each of these groups can not play one another. Their first will always go against a second from all of these groups. And you can also not meet a player that you have met in the bracket, in the groups even from before. So if you were number 1 from A, you can't meet number 2 from A as that continues on. Also, as it stands as well, WCS placements factor into the bracket and the seeding as well. So for example, because Morrow and Saral placed number 1 in each of their respective regions, that means seeding needs to be sorted out. And we basically kind of coin flip for which seeding they are going to be getting, and they will be going into the bracket on the opposite sides to make sure that we're in the right spot here. So that's going to be the first thing that we're going to be doing later on here, and figuring out where they're going to be in the bracket. And just in case you've never seen a bracket, here's a bracket.
Ooh.
Wow.
Look
James
at
hasn't
that.
spoke. It's 3
Can you
Terrans, 2
imagine
Protoss.
at the end, that bracket is going to be filled in with names everywhere?
I appreciate the correction and control.
Thank you.
Well done.
It was killing me.
There you go. There you go. That's fine.
That's a bracket.
That's a bracket.
And that's the trophy.
That's the pity.
There you go.
And
there
if you
go.
guys
Very
missed it because we were talking
fast-forward.
over it, Dan was saying, imagine this filled with names.
Absolutely, and we're going to start doing that. So introducing WCS commissioner here to the stage to get the proceedings going. We have Adrian from Blizzard with his lovely StarCraft shirt as well.
That's Commissioner Adrian to you,
WCS
sir.
Commissioner.
Please.
Did I not say?
He didn't go to commissioner school for 10 years at WCS. All right. Just to be told.
I love it.
He already doesn't want to be
Adrian.
here with you teasing him.
Pretty cool shirt, man.
You think he did that in? Oh my. Anyway, okay. So it is time to reveal our first name, which will be coming out of this. The name coming out from Adrian will be placed into the top side of the bracket at the very, very top.
It's our number 1 seed, right?
Out of Morrow and Saral. This is basically us figuring out number 1 seed from that.
If you don't pull out Saral's name, man.
Oh, he's pulling out Morrow.
Redraw.
Actually,
Well,
quite.
Saral's the actual number 1 seed, though. He's the
Is he,
best.
though?
He is the actual.
Morrow had more points, though.
By
Saral won.
Here, just
210?
watch. It's
Sarah won 4 WC
No.
stops.
A bit more. The name coming out is Morrow. Morrow will be going into the top half of the bracket here and being positioned right at the top. Our 3-time GSL champion.
Okay.
Not much to be said about that. So let's confirm the last name that was in there as well from Mr. Adrian. Second seed
Saral.
coming into the bracket, it is Saral, coming from the WCS circuit, 4-time WCS
That puts him at the
champion.
bottom of the bracket. Interesting, isn't
you
it,
go.
StarCraft
Skip
fans?
the rest of the bracket.
Morrow at the top, Saral at the bottom. So you're telling me if these guys win their matches, they'll play in the finals?
Maybe. Maybe. Let's go to the
We
next
deserve
drawings now
that.
as well. So just to outline exactly what this is our remaining 2 first places that will fill out the bracket. So the first name to come out will join Amara in the top half of the bracket, but not obviously playing him in that first round.
I think it's going to be Rogue.
Take a guess.
It's going to be Rogue.
Stats.
Think Rogue?
It's going to be Rogue.
Stats.
I'm feeling a Rogue here.
I love
No.
this.
Give me a stats versus Saral.
Adrian reveals the
I
name,
mean, I would love that.
and it is
Stats.
Stats.
That's what I said. No, it's not.
Stats goes into the top half of the bracket.
That
Joining.
sets a potential
Yeah.
semi-finals rematch up from GSL versus the Wolves.
That's some good stuff. And just to confirm our last name that will be going down into the bottom half of the bracket, it is Rogue. So already the Zergs are looking very, very stacked there down towards the bottom. The potential of Rogue versus Saral in his semi-final is quite astonishing in itself.
Yikes.
Yeah, and that should make him feel at home, since it's a ZVZ, right? Very WCS circuit-like.
Didn't Saral... Did Saral say Rogue was one of the players he was worried about? I thought he did.
May have been. I mean, traditionally, when it comes to the WCS circuit as a whole, Zerg versus Zerg has been one of those spots where Saral's kind of looked a little bit more mortal, I would say.
I think only in Montreal, but that's just because out of the 10 series he played in Montreal, 9 of them were Zerg. It's like, okay, can the kid lose a couple maps already? I mean, if you look at his record throughout the rest of the year, he is often 3-0'd almost every single Zerg that he played. Don't forget, he also beat Dark in GSL versus the World, so I really don't want to say that this EVZ is weak.
Gentlemen, we are almost ready here to reveal our first name. So due to the way in which our seeding works, as well as obviously, you can't actually play the same person from your group coming into this bracket as well, we're ready to actually reveal how everybody is going to be distributed here throughout the bracket. So
All at once?
no, one at a time.
Okay, good. I was going to say.
Calm down and control. Maru versus SOS is going to be our first match in the round of 8.
That is the side of the bracket that SOS wanted, guys. I'm so sorry that my prediction is so likely.
You think he's
to
beating
come-
Morrow?
He wanted that side?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
This is SOS we're talking about. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I feel we're going to have a few more of those couches, aren't we, with you two?
Well, I mean, no, I'm excited. That's going to be really fun. And SOS was playing more up to his snuff. And I actually kind of like, it was either Pig or Todd that was talking about this, but like, we got robbed a little bit. Like SOS's play style, it sometimes won't work, like against Saral, and it looks really bad. But then we saw what it looks like when he's clicking and things are actually making sense. And he looks good. And I'm worried though, out of SOS, his 2 PvTs, we only saw that like Zealot, Stalker, aggressive style.
There's a lot of gateways. Rotterdam,
Does that work against Morrow?
I think so. Maybe not.
He's a teammate with Maru.
If SOS plays the same as he did in these past 3 days, or 2 out of the 3 days that he played, it's not going to be enough. Nowhere near enough. No, honestly. But we also know that SOS can really step it up on the big stage. Like I said before, he's a big game, big tournament player. So obviously it'd be a fool to count SOS out, but he needs to step it up.
We can keep this shorter so we can get actually to the next names, and we can discuss it after the bracket is fully done.
All right. I see how it is.
The next
no talk, guys.
name, Stats is going to be playing. Oh, actually, we're doing Saral even, I should say. Saral versus Dark.
Ooh.
As we're doing it via the seedings of our first
That's
place.
pretty good for Saral.
Zerg City down there.
Dark said he wanted Saral.
It is Zerg
Be
City,
careful
isn't
what
it?
you ask for.
Dark
though.
said he wanted
He
Cyril?
did
He
say
said
that
it-
in an interview.
Yeah, he said it with
just
Hajin.
before.
He's such a badass, man. Why would he want that?
He's like one of those guys that gets punched in the face and like in training sparring session. He's like, you know what? Let's go for another round.
That is a lot of
This is
Zerg.
that's amazing because actually what Dark Foley said is I am the best Zerg on the planet and I want to prove it.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, I need to beat Saral. And then the stars aligned and they were like, you may have your chance.
Right.
And Rogue is also on this side of the bracket.
That's a lot.
so-
But I think Rogue's more like, no, keep him.
We'll figure it out.
You guys, that's fine. No, I don't need to prove that. I just want to win.
All right, let's move on to our next reveal here in the bracket, of course, as we have only 2 more names remaining, and then once we've revealed the next one, obviously we're going to know what the last one is. So, Special is going to play against Stats.
That's pretty good for Special, man. Like, that's pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, the other part of the bracket, not as much, but...
Dude. This bracket,
Oh my
like,
goodness.
really everyone has a shot with this bracket right now. These are
Yeah.
crazy matchups.
I mean, after
Who's
what we
the
just saw
last
from
one, though?
Special going up
TY.
against Classic, that's kind of crazy stuff to see that he's now drawn against Stats. Thoughts, Roddy?
Yeah, no, it is crazy. I mean, I guess we should wait until we finish up the bracket. There's one more player.
Yes,
and
indeed.
we already know who it is, obviously. So let's just get that out of the way, and then we can give our
That's
thoughts.
right. So let's reveal that and
It's
confirm that
Taz.
Rogue is going up against
I
TY
told you.
to finish things off.
TY, do it.
Ta-da.
All right.
All right. Tougher side.
Tougher side. The bottom bracket's the tougher side.
I agree.
for
Jeff?
certain.
Do you concur?
I do not. I think
Ooh.
the top side might be the harder side.
You think the top side might be harder?
I
Can we
think
get the
SOS
bracket
has a
back on the
chance-
screen for a second. Is it
SOS has a
possible?
chance to actually ruin the final that we want
Yes,
in
it
that series,
does.
and that's scary as heck. And then, well, yeah, I can't actually talk about it without looking at it because everything's gone. I
He's going to
thought
wipe in.
there's 3 Protosses for Pete's sakes. Let's not even rely on what I say.
If he's going to wipe in 24 Zelos, they're going to run into 6 Widow Mines of Morrow. All of them are going to die. And he's not going to
Yeah.
ruin anything, okay, Jeff? I think the bottom side is killer. I mean, that
Well,
TV's...
that series is front loaded though. It's going to be early stuff, right? Like Morrow's going to proxy in every single game. SOS is going to proxy in most of the games.
it's going to
Yeah, that's going to be crazy.
Clown
Just-
Fiesta.
So just to remind you guys, top half of the bracket is obviously we had SOS going up against Morrow, and then Stats is going to be going up against Special. Let's focus on that for a moment if you guys want to talk about that. Any thoughts, Roddy?
Like I said, I think I already said it about SOS. He needs to play a lot better than he did in these days. Otherwise, he has zero chance. Because Maru looked as good as he's done throughout the entire year. SOS did not look that clean. But big game player, big tournament player, has some time to think about it as well. But he needs to come up with some stuff.
He has 4 days to prep for how he wants to play against someone he lives with and practices with all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And with that beautiful brain in his head, he is going to bring some crazy stuff. And I look at that side of the bracket, and every single person on that side of the bracket can make it to the finals. Absolutely, they can all beat each other.
I think so.
This
at
is
point.
real. I am so sorry, you guys, if you don't think it's real, but you got to think it's real. Okay, you got to believe for a moment. Okay.
I
Think about this,
I
right?
see 2 favorites and 2 underdogs. Like I think Stats and Maru are the big favorites there to clash in the semifinals. And who wins between those 2? I wouldn't really want to make any calls, but I see those 2 as big favorites.
Interesting dynamic to call attention to. Special trains a lot with TY, their buddies here. TY has a TVZ, Special has a TVP. They will not be helping out each other that much in this next
No,
quarter.
they're going to be busy for sure.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And then the lower half of the bracket, of course, Rogue versus TY and Dark versus Saral. Your thoughts, guys? Dan?
I mean, you couldn't make this harder on Saral.
No.
It's going to be Montreal all over again.
It could not be harder on Saral. First off, if TY beats Rogue, his TVZ is in tip-top form, right? And then Dark versus Saral, yeah, he beat Dark recently, but you can't tell me that he's a heavy favorite there. Maybe he's a slight favorite there. And then Rogue plays actually a very different style of ZVZ than the rest of Korea. I think that Saral's probably going to be more comfortable against Dark even than Rogue, in my opinion. So I see I expect Rogue to actually maybe take out TY there.
Jeff?
So that's hard.
Anytime Dan speaks in absolutes, my whole body like wants to just fight it. But as I look, I'm like, it might actually be the toughest path. I mean, he did beat Dark, and that we tend in StarCraft to be very like results oriented. We're like, well, if you beat him, that means he beats him every time. He's better, but it's not really like that, obviously. But I still do think that of those people, Dark is one of the better first round matches for Saral because he's so at home in CVZ. And while he did look more mortal at Montreal in this matchup than ever before, dropping more maps than ever. The European scene is very good at ZVZ, and I know that sounds like a weird caster thing that you would say, but those Zergs are actually not far off from your Darks, your Rogues. Obviously, they lack a lot of the big stage presence, and they didn't get it done, but they are of that caliber, and I think Saral is looking pretty good there. TY is the Darth Maul to Morrow's Emperor Palpatine, by the way. So, like, is there a world where TY beats Saral? I have a tough time imagining it.
Roddy, your thoughts?
No.
What I love is that we have the... I mean, I think WCS Global Finals is obviously the biggest tournament of the year, but Intel Extreme Masters Katowice is right below that, right? It's such a six-stack tournament. 2017 Katowice champ goes up against the 2018 Katowice champ in Rogue versus TY, so I really love seeing that. And yeah, I think Dark is an opponent that Saral will look at and be like, okay, like I think it could have been worse, but on the other end, it's going to be far from easy. Dark, the way that he played today, I think especially that game 2 against Showtime, you're looking like, whoa, okay, yeah, this is the Dark that we have seen in the past. He looked really good in that second game against Showtime. It's a very tough bracket. It's an awesome bracket. I'm excited, man.
Open forum. Final thoughts before we end the show today, guys?
Dark has good material to study up on if he wants a chance to beat at Saral. This last WCS stop, Saral dropped a lot of maps, and he actually played fairly formulaically, if that's a word, throughout all of them. He kind of had the same idea of how to win a ZVZ. He's going to maybe need to improve or mix that up, which is a weird thing to say at this stage. He's already here. He's got a few days off, yes. But if he plays like that against Dark and Dark reads up on it and Dark will, then that could be a more dangerous matchup than I'm comfortable talking about.
Dan?
This bracket is insane, and everyone has a chance to beat everyone else in it. Like, really and truly, I know that we have some slight favorites and stuff, but when you're on that big stage in BlizzCon, everything's on the line. Like, anything can happen.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. Roddy?
Love it, and I do think the dream final of everybody, I mean, we don't have to hide it, right? Everyone dreams about that Morrow versus Saral storyline. It is not going to be easy, but looking at this bracket, I do think that dream is very much so alive.
Yeah. They're on opposite
sides. It literally is alive.
Right?
I mean, that's
literally alive. It is possible.
Yeah. It is. All right, well, thank you very much, gentlemen. A pleasure to do this with you as well. We have revealed the bracket. We've confirmed all of our round of 8 members, and we know exactly who they're going to be playing moving into BlizzCon. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, around the world for tuning in to opening week. The group stage was great, but the bracket is going to be even better. Join us 2nd and 3rd of November as BlizzCon rolls around for the 2018 WCS Global Finals.